1993. That was the last time the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. But don't worry, Habs fans, because in today's video, I'm going to be simulating until the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup. In year number 1, our roster is not looking too good, but we do have some promising players that are still very young, like Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. Even a guy like Kirby Dach is only 21, and Slavkovsky is only 18. We would finish dead last in the Atlantic with a 33, 38, and 11 record. Nick Suzuki would lead the way with 66 points in 73 games, followed by Kirby Dach and Cole Caulfield. Caulfield 24 goals, not bad. Shout out Mitch Marner, cracking the 100-point mark. And the Carolina Hurricanes would win the Stanley Cup, beating the Golden Knights in 6 games. Teuvo Teravainen would win the Conn Smythe. Heading into year number 2, our roster is a little bit improved. Slavkovsky and Caulfield both got better, as well as our second line overall has gotten better. Our forward core is not looking too bad, at least our top 9. Our fourth line is, well, a fourth line. Our D-core is not absolutely terrible, but it's not great either. And we have Semyon Varlamov at an 86 in goal. Surprisingly, Montreal actually had a very good year. We finished first in the Atlantic, which is very hard to do. And we would finish second in the entire league behind the Columbus Blue Jackets. Cole Caulfield led the way with 84 points, followed by Nick Suzuki and Mike Hoffman. Semyon Varlamov had decent numbers as well. Shout out Johnny Gaudreau, because he has to live in Ohio. That's gotta be rough. Shout out Patrick Laine, 56 goals. We would absolutely dominate the New Jersey Devils in round number 1. Unfortunately, we would lose to the Boston Bruins in round number 2. Colorado would capture another Stanley Cup. Shout out Zach Werenski, winning the Norris. Shout out Bedsy, winning the Calder with the Nashville Predators. Carter Hart won the Vezina, that is surprising. As we head into year 3, Cole Caulfield has jumped up to a 90 overall, so he is an absolute stud. Nick Suzuki's an 89, Slavkovsky's an 86. Our forward core is actually looking really good. Defensively, we still have some work to do. And we have the legend Marc-Andre Fleury in net, an 86 overall at age 39. Montreal would end up finishing 4th in the Atlantic with a 42, 27, 13 record. Cole Caulfield would lead the way with 75 points, followed by Nick Suzuki and Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher having a career year, 31 goals and 63 points. And Marc-Andre Fleury had a .917 save percentage, not bad. Shout out Alex DeBrincat, cracking 100 points for the first time in his career. Shout out Toe Drag Release, 92 points in his second season. Toe Drag Release. We would end up losing in the first round to the Ottawa Senators in 5 games, and the Colorado Avalanche are your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Shout out Colorado, 3 cups, 4 years. Shout out Kaprizov, winning the Hart Trophy. Your Conn Smythe winner was Nathan MacKinnon. Heading into year 4, somehow Cole Caulfield dropped down to an 88 overall. I honestly have no idea how that happened. Leo Carlsson has finally made the NHL roster. He is an 86, so that's going to help out a lot. Defensively, we picked up Jacob Chikrin, who is by far our best defenseman at an 88, as well as Marc-Andre Fleury has fallen off a cliff at age 40. And we would miss the playoffs with a 37, 37, and 8 record. Cole Caulfield would lead the way with only 60 points, followed by Brendan Gallagher and Nick Suzuki. Shout out Nathan MacKinnon, who had an absolute monster year, scoring 118 points. Buddy is on an absolute tear. The Minnesota Wild would win the Stanley Cup. Sam Reinhart would take home the Conn Smythe trophy. I swear I see him winning the Conn Smythe in every single simulation I do. Going into year 5, looking at our roster, we have a dynamite first line. Leo Carlsson is a really good second line center. I have no idea why Brendan Gallagher is all the way down on the 4th line. Brendan Gallagher is an 86. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky are still dynamite. Our D-core is still a weakness. And we have Jacob Markstrom as our starting goalie. He's an 86 overall, but he is 36 years old, so he's most likely going to drop off in a year or 2. Montreal would yet again miss the playoffs. Just barely though, we trailed the Red Wings by like 5 points. We finished 41, 36, and 5. Nick Suzuki led the way with 77 points, followed by Leo Carlsson and Cole Caulfield. Jacob Markstrom had a pretty mediocre year, a .901 save percentage and a 3 goals against average. The Colorado Avalanche are not fucking around. They win another Stanley Cup, beating the Tampa Bay Lightning in 7 games. They have won 4 Stanley Cups in 6 years. That is absolutely insane. Nathan MacKinnon wins another Conn Smythe. Heading into year 6, this is what our roster is currently looking like. We have an amazing first line now with Leo Carlsson as our first line center. Nick Suzuki got bumped down to the second line center. I don't know how. He's an 89, Carlson's an 88, but maybe Carlson's just a better fit. Our third line is decent. And our fourth line is surprisingly really good. Our defensive core has pretty much stayed the same. And we have Mackenzie Blackwood as our starting goalie, which, let's be honest, if you want to win the Stanley Cup, I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood is going to cut it. If only we still had Carey Price. R.I.P. Carey Price. What am I saying? He's not dead. He just retired. And Montreal would miss the playoffs yet again. They finished 7th in the Atlantic, and I'm starting to think I'm going to be here a while. I thought we had a bright future ahead of us, but I don't know, I guess not. Caulfield would lead the way with 66 points, followed by Leo Carlsson and Nick Suzuki. Slafkovsky had a decent year as well. 39 goals for Caulfield. Mackenzie Blackwood had the year we all thought he would have. Finally, another team other than the Colorado Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup. Minnesota beat New Jersey in 5 games to capture the Stanley Cup. Kaprizov is your Conn Smythe winner. We are now heading into year number 7, and this is what our roster is looking like. Same first line as usual. Leo Carlsson as our second line center. We drafted this Stuart Bouma guy, who is a 79 overall as an 18-year-old with medium elite potential. So this guy's going to be an absolute stud. We have decent depth. We have a very good top line. Hopefully this can be the year we make the playoffs. Well, you would think we'd have a shot at making the playoffs until you looked at our D-core. We don't have Jacob Chikrin anymore. We have a decent 1-2 punching goalie. Nothing special, but it could be worse, honestly. The Montreal Canadiens are absolutely trash. They finished dead last in their division with only 28 wins. That's just fucking sad. Caulfield led the way with 61 points, followed by Leo Carlsson and Nick Suzuki as always, minus 30, minus 32, minus 23. Our 19-year-old rookie, Stuart Bouma, was a minus 35. Oh, I'm gonna be here a while, aren't I? Shout out to this guy. 22 years old, 56 goals, 104 points. He's 5'8", 178. This dude's a little tank. It's his 4th season in the league, and he's an absolute monster. And the Colorado Avalanche are back, winning another Stanley Cup, beating the Carolina Hurricanes in 5 games. They win like practically every fucking year. Shout out Lafreniere winning the Hart Trophy. New York is absolutely terrible at developing players. We're now heading into year number 8, and we've only made the playoffs once. That is very concerning. Leo Carlsson's an 88. This Bouma guy is an 81 now. He's going to grow a lot in the next couple of years. Montreal's losing ways will continue, as yet again they finished dead last in the Atlantic. We only had 27 wins. Holy shit. Caulfield would lead the way with only 55 points. My god, Nick Suzuki, 13 goals? Goalies, terrible. Connor McDavid is a god at hockey, 66 goals, 130 points. Shout out the New York Rangers taking down the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Finals. Take that, Colorado, you bastards. We have to make some moves or something. Otherwise, we're just going to keep losing year after year. Going into year 9, I definitely do not have high hopes for this roster. We also lost Nick Suzuki in the offseason, but don't worry, we have this creative player, Matt Yip, who is going to lead us to the promised land. No, they didn't win a Stanley Cup, but they made the playoffs, which makes me feel a lot better. Slafkovsky would lead the way with 73 points, followed by Leo Carlsson and Cole Caulfield, as well as Josh Norris having a big year. Our goaltending stats weren't great either, but I don't care. We're in the playoffs. That is all that matters. Shout out Nathan MacKinnon putting up 58 goals. This dude is on a mission this simulation, as well as Mikko Rantanen. I mean, the Colorado Avalanche overall have been absolutely insane during this simulation, so I guess their stats would be high. We have the New Jersey Devils in round number 1, and we would beat them in 6 games. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins in round number 2, and we would just squeak by the Penguins in 7 games. On to round number 3, baby. Next up, we have Carolina in round number 3. Somehow, someway, we beat the Carolina Hurricanes in 5 games. This is absolutely crazy. We are playing the St. Louis Blues in the Stanley Cup Finals. Please, for the love of God, Montreal, don't fail me now. It took so long just to get here. Please don't choke this away. The Montreal Canadiens are currently 1 game away from winning the Stanley Cup. We are currently up 3-2 on the St. Louis Blues. We are currently up 3-1 with 10 minutes to go in the 3rd period. And the Montreal Canadiens have finally done it. They have finally won the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1993. It was a long 9 years, but we finally got here. I don't know how we won it. We barely made the playoffs for the last decade. And Matt Yip is your Conn Smythe winner. Slafkovsky lifting the Stanley Cup for the first time. You better enjoy this moment, Montreal, because you are absolutely dog shit in real life. But hey, it's a video game. Video games are meant to be fun. And even Montreal Canadiens fans deserve some joy in their life. Because I can imagine it's pretty tough being a Canadiens fan. There's that little tank Booma. My god, the dude has red laces. What a fucking beauty.